Dr. Malcolm Davis, Senior Analyst in Defence Strategy and Capability at the Australian Strategic Policy Institute, is with me now, and he's joining the program live from Canberra in Australia. Dr. Malcolm, while the toppling of Assad's regime saw celebrations, and now Mohammed al-Bashir is the new interim Prime Minister of Syria, Syria is, however, facing attacks from Israel. What are the main challenges that he faces first up?
These are undertaking defensive actions, firstly, to try and prevent Syrian military hardware, so tanks, armoured fighting vehicles, naval vessels and aircraft and such like, from falling into the hands of groups like Islamic State. And I think that the Syrian government, or the new Syrian government, the rebel government, should probably be thanking the Israelis for doing this, because the last thing that new government in Damascus would want would be to have an emboldened and well-armed Islamic State re-emerging to threaten its grip on power. So I think that the Israelis are doing that new Syrian government a favor by launching these attacks to essentially remove any real military capability that Islamic State and other groups like it could essentially utilize.
Dr. Malcolm, Israel is, however, also being accused of land grabbing. While you say Israel is doing Syria a favor by trying to nab these terrorist groups, what do you have to say about this particular accusation?
Well, the land grabbing one is slightly different in the sense that the Israelis are moving into the Golan Heights and then a bit beyond. For example, they've established a presence on the top of Mount Hermon, which gives them the ability then to have much more effective surveillance across large parts of Syria and beyond, and so it gives the Israelis greater situational awareness. I think that the Israelis will be very conscious of not going too far in this regard. They know that it would be a political own goal if they started to push towards Damascus too far. So I think what they'll do is they'll establish a defensive line as far as they need to, but it won't be too far into Syria. And I think, once again, the goal here is to prevent, firstly, any moves by Islamic State from attacking Israel. But secondly, and more importantly, I think in this instance, is to prevent Iran from resupplying Hezbollah in Lebanon. And that's where that position on top of Mount Hermon really comes to the fore.
Would you say that this is also perhaps rather opportunistic for Israel, considering that Iran is busy with what has become of the Hezbollah now against Israel, and given that Russia is busy with Ukraine, would you say that this is in fact an opportunity for Israel to sort of sneak into the Syrian territory and continue on to do what it is doing right now?
I wouldn't put it in those terms. I would put it from a military perspective, a sensible move by Israel to make sure that Hezbollah cannot be resupplied by Iran and thus re-equipped and start launching threats and attacks against Israel again. Israel has managed to effectively defeat Hezbollah in the war against them. They do not want Hezbollah re-emerging as a threat. So the very fact that this uprising in Syria occurred at the same time, not through any connivance on the part of Israel or the United States, by the way, I think Israel has recognized that they do need to take advantage of the situation to make sure that Hezbollah cannot be rearmed. So it's opportunistic at a tactical level, by all means, but it's not opportunistic at a strategic level in terms of Israel seeking to grab land off Syria.
Dr. Malcolm, very quickly before I let you go, how do you see the domestic politics in Syria play out, especially with regards to the minorities like the Kurds?
Look, Syria is a complex area, and I think that there's many different groups in Syria that are now probably trying to work out where they stand in a new power arrangement. Certainly, the rebel-led government appears to be consolidating its rule. We all hope that that rebel government follows through on its words and actually does embrace a more essentially stable and moderate path in terms of its governance. But they will face challenges as well from groups like Islamic State. The Kurds, I think, obviously need to think in terms of their future as well. But it really is a complex situation. It's early days yet, and it's really hard to say, with any clarity where these various different groups will end up.
Thank you, Dr. Malcolm Davis, for your time and joining us on the program today.
Thank you.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.